To survive, I became a full-stack being. On the surface, the front end, I'm the professional, the engineer, the one with the degree and the answers. But the back end is where the real work happens. It's where the bugs of the past hide. You can't just patch a broken heart or reboot a relationship. In the anime of life, the hardest code to write is the one that lets you forgive yourself. When the noise gets too loud, I look for the macro. This is harmonious passion. It's not about being the best creator on the platform. It's about the flow. When I film the small things, my ego disappears. I'm not a software engineer or a success story. I'm just a witness to the beauty of the now. Psychology calls it self-efficacy, the quiet realization that I can create beauty from nothing. Life can be cold. People leave. Ties are cut like a dangling wire. When that happens, you want to close your heart, to seal the aperture and live in the dark. But if you stay in the dark, you never see the solution. You have to engage the mechanism. Opening the aperture doesn't mean the pain is gone. It means you're choosing to let the light in anyway. We are all works in progress. Version 1.0 was just the beginning. My code is running. My lens is focused. The aperture is open. What are you building today? Think of this function as a well-organized backpack. Everything has its place, making the journey much smoother. Most people look at the mirror and see a user. They see a unique UI, a custom skin, maybe some complex middleware. But if you press F12 on the human definition, if you go to the base class, you don't find a special soul interface. You find animal.cs. Today, we're refactoring our ego. I'm going to show you why humans are just highly optimized instances of the animal base class, and why your complex emotions are really just legacy code from the mammalian kernel. In .NET, we talk about the CLR, the Common Language Runtime. It manages memory so you don't have to. Evolution is our CLR. It's been managing our hardware for millions of years. Think about your prefrontal cortex. That's your high-level web API. It's shiny, it handles logic, it routes requests. But underneath, you've got the brainstem. That's the assembly code. It's unmanaged. It's dangerous. It handles the heartbeat and breathe methods. You can't even override them without a system crash. We think we're running sophisticated microservices, but when you're hungry or scared, the system throws a thread abort exception. The high-level logic stops. The animal kernel takes over the thread. Why? Because the base class has priority. Let's talk about social behavior. You think you choose your friends based on deep intellectual compatibility? Check your constructor. We are born with dependencies already injected. You didn't learn to want status. The iTribal instinct service was registered in your container before you even hit the main method. Humans are animals because we operate on convention over configuration. We follow the patterns of the pack because the base.seek acceptance method is hard-coded into our startup routine. Anxiety isn't a bug. It's a try-catch block that's a little too sensitive. A deer in the forest has a scan for threats method. It's looking for a wolf. A human in a modern office uses that exact same method. But because there are no wolves, the logic points to unread emails or awkward silences. We are running animal firmware on 21st century servers. It leads to a massive memory leak we call stress. If you want to debug your life, stop looking at the human documentation. Start reading the mammal logs. You're not failing. Your default animal settings are just doing exactly what they were programmed to do. Survive, not be happy. So, what's the takeaway? If we're just animals in a .NET wrapper, does that make us less? No. It makes us optimized. When you realize you're an animal, You stop blaming yourself for having bugs like hunger, tiredness, or the need for a pack. Those aren't bugs, they're features of the base class. To be a great developer, you have to understand the framework you're building on. To be a great human, you have to understand the animal you're running on. Respect the base class. Keep your dependencies clean. And remember, your life is a long-running task. Make sure it's worth the CPU cycles. If this refactor made sense to you, hit the build button. The like button. Subscribe for more .NET philosophy. I've got to go. My hunger monitor is throwing a critical error. See you in the next commit.
In the heart of the city's most prestigious tech hub, life moved at the speed of light. Here at Global Nexus, career trajectories were defined by seconds and software. Meet June, a lead developer known for two things: her brilliant code and her unapologetic confidence. In a sea of gray suits, June was a flash of color. Today, she was pushing a major update, oblivious of the fact that her world was about to shift. Then there was Leo, the new creative in a world of logics. He had the data for the new launch, but he didn't have the technical roadmap. He was looking for the lead dev. He was looking for June.
I was told the person at this desk could solve any problem in the building. I didn't realize they also brought the sunshine with them.
Problem solving is my specialty. The sunshine, that's just a bonus for working through lunch.
What started as a technical briefing turned into a partnership. They spent hours merging his vision with her architecture. It wasn't just about the project anymore. It was about the way June's eyes lit up when she saw the bug, and the way Leo's presence made the high-pressure office feel like a sanctuary. The adrenaline of the success broke the final barrier of professional distance. In the quiet of the empty MNC, under the soft amber lights, the air was thick with more than just achievement. Some say you shouldn't mix business with pleasure. But for June and Leo, the chemistry was the most successful project they ever launched. In the world of logic, they found something beautifully irrational, a love that was as bold as June's style and as deep as Leo's heart. Success is sound. For June and Leo, it wasn't just applause at the MNC or the project complete notification. It was the quiet click of the front door closing, leaving the noise of the corporate world behind. Her sanctuary was like her mind, vibrant, warm, and perfectly designed. In this space, the orange wasn't just a color, it was an atmosphere. It was a glow of a fire that Leo had finally been invited to share.
After today, I didn't think this day could get any more beautiful. I was wrong.
June, turning in his arms, smiling. The code is live, Leo. For the first time in months, there's nothing to solve. Just this.
In the office, they were a powerhouse of logic and creativity. Here, they were just two souls finding a rhythm that had nothing to do with deadlines. There's a specific kind of romance in being truly seen. Leo didn't just see the lead developer. He saw the woman who built worlds from nothing. And June saw a man who didn't want to change her spark. He wanted to be the one who kept it burning.
I'm thinking that I spent years looking for the perfect project. I didn't realize that the best thing I'd ever be a part of was you.
Some stories end with a happily ever after. But for June and Leo, this was just a version 1.0, a foundation built on mutual respect, shared passion, and a color palette that reflected the fire in their hearts.
Normally the ceiling set at 100 degrees. Energy just vanishes upon the breeze. But seal the chamber. Now the steam is forced to rise. A whole new boiling point before your very eyes. That extra heat is hammered deep inside the food. transforming every fiber, making it brand new.
We've all heard of the chemical imbalance theory. For millions of people, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or SSRIs, like escitalopram, are the bridge back to normalcy. But what happens when that bridge becomes a permanent fixture? Today, we're peeling back the layers of the cortex to look at the microscopic tug-of-war happening in your synapses. We're talking about neuroadaptation, and why your brain chemistry changes so fundamentally that stopping isn't as simple as just putting the bottle away. To understand the addiction or dependency, we have to understand the transporter. In a standard brain, a neuron releases serotonin 5-HT into the synaptic cleft. It bounces around, hits a receptor, and sends a signal of stability or well-being. Afterward, a vacuum cleaner, called the serotonin transporter, SERT, sucks the leftover serotonin back into the initial neuron to be recycled. Host. Escitalopram is a molecular plug. It sits inside that SERT vacuum cleaner and jams it. Suddenly, serotonin levels in the gap rise because they have nowhere else to go. This is the selective part of the SSRI. Here is where the chemistry gets tricky. The brain is an obsessed fan of homeostasis. It hates being out of balance. When escitalopram keeps serotonin levels artificially high for weeks, the brain thinks, "Whoa, way too much signal. Tone it down." To compensate, the brain performs two major moves. Downregulation. The receiving neuron actually deletes some of its receptors. If there are fewer ears to listen, the loud volume of serotonin doesn't feel as intense. Synthesis reduction. The brain may slow down its own natural production of serotonin because it perceives a surplus. Host. This is neuroplasticity in reverse. Your brain is literally rewiring its hardware to account for the presence of the drug. Let's address the A word. Technically, clinicians distinguish between addiction, craving a high, and physical dependence, needing the substance to function. Escitalopram doesn't usually cause the frantic drug-seeking behavior seen with dopamine-heavy drugs like cocaine. However, the chemical dependency is very real. Because your brain has deleted receptors and slowed production, it is now optimized for a high serotonin environment. Host. If you suddenly remove the escitalopram, the vacuum cleaners start working again, but you have no receptors left to catch the signals. This creates a serotonin crash, or SSRI discontinuation syndrome. This isn't just feeling sad. When the chemistry crashes, users report brain zaps, electrical shock sensations in the skull, dizziness. The vestibular system is heavily influenced by serotonin. Emotional lability, extreme irritability, or crying spells. Your brain is essentially screaming because it's trying to operate a high-speed system with hardware, receptors, that it threw away months ago. It takes weeks or months for the brain to grow those receptors back. Does this mean escitalopram is bad? Healing isn't just about adding a chemical. It's about giving the brain the time and stability to find its own balance again. Host. If you found this deep dive helpful, hit the like button and subscribe for more neuroscience breakdowns. Stay curious and take care of your biology.